Good evening, and welcome to our special report. Can you imagine a killer who not only committed heinous crimes, but openly boasted about them, challenged authorities, and disappeared without a trace, leaving behind a legacy of fear and cryptic messages that continue to haunt us decades later? Tonight, we delve into one of America's most perplexing and chilling unsolved mysteries, the case of the Zodiac Killer. In the late 1960s, a shadow fell over the vibrant streets of San Francisco. A serial killer who brazenly dubbed himself Zodiac embarked on a terrifying spree, turning the picturesque Bay Area into a hunting ground. Unlike most criminals who seek to hide their atrocities, Zodiac craved attention, using local newspapers as his personal platform to taunt the police and terrorize the public. His reign of terror, primarily between 1968 and 1969, left at least 5 confirmed victims in its wake, though the killer himself chillingly claimed responsibility for a staggering 37 lives. The identity of this elusive predator remains unknown to this day, a dark stain on the annals of criminal history. Our story begins on the night of December 20, 1968, just 5 days before Christmas. The setting was a quiet, secluded stretch of Lake Herman Road in Vallejo, California. 16-year-old Betty Lou Jensen and 17-year-old David Arthur Faraday were on their first date, enjoying a peaceful evening in Faraday's Rambler. What began as an innocent night out quickly turned into a nightmare. Around 10:15 p.m., their car was approached by an unknown assailant. The young couple was forced out of their vehicle. What transpired next was a cold-blooded execution. Jensen was found dead at the scene, tragically struck by 5 gunshot wounds to her back as she attempted to flee. Faraday, shot once in the head, clung to life but succumbed to his injuries en route to the hospital. The brutal efficiency of the attack left investigators baffled and deeply disturbed. There were no witnesses, no immediate clues, just the horror of 2 young lives extinguished without apparent motive. 6 months later, on July 4, 1969, the terror escalated. Another young couple, 22-year-old Darlene Farron and 19-year-old Michael Mageau, had parked their car at the Blue Rock Springs Golf Course, a mere 4 miles away from the site of the Jensen-Faraday murders. Around midnight, a second vehicle pulled up behind them. A man exited, shining a flashlight into their car, momentarily blinding them. Believing it to be a police officer, Michael Mageau began to retrieve his identification. Instead, the man opened fire with a 9mm Luger pistol. Farron was struck multiple times and died from her wounds. Miraculously, Mageau, despite being shot in the face, neck, and chest, survived the brutal assault. His survival proved to be a critical, albeit limited, breakthrough. Mageau was able to provide police with a description of their attacker, a heavy-set white man estimated to be around 5'8" tall. But it was the killer himself who would deliver the most chilling and audacious piece of evidence that very night. At 12:48 a.m., just minutes after the Blue Rock Springs attack, police received a strange, calm, yet terrifying phone call. The caller, speaking in a monotone voice, stated, "I wish to report a double murder. If you go 1 mile east in Columbus Parkway to a public park, you will find the kids in a brown car. They have been shot with a 9mm Luger. I also killed those kids last year. Goodbye." With these chilling words, the murderer not only confirmed his responsibility for the latest killings, but also explicitly linked himself to the Faraday-Jensen murders from the previous December. This call marked the first time the killer directly communicated with law enforcement, initiating a cat-and-mouse game that would captivate and horrify the nation. Just a month later, in late July and early August 1969, The killer's theatrics escalated dramatically. 3 Bay Area newspapers, the Vallejo Times-Herald, the San Francisco Chronicle, and the San Francisco Examiner, each received identical letters from the individual now calling himself Zodiac. These were not ordinary letters. They were a macabre demand for attention. Zodiac threatened a killing rampage if the newspapers did not publish his letters on their front pages. The letters themselves were a twisted puzzle, describing the murders and containing cryptic ciphers that appeared to form a coded message. Each letter was signed with a distinctive crossed circle symbol, a cross superimposed over a circle, which quickly became the terrifying emblem of the killer. The media, caught between public safety and the killer's demands, grappled with an ethical dilemma. Ultimately, they published parts of the ciphers, fueling public panic and initiating a nationwide effort to crack the code. The public, amateur sleuths, and professional cryptographers alike began working on the puzzles. Within days, one of these ciphers, known as the 408 symbol cipher, was astonishingly decoded by a high school teacher from Salinas, Donald Hardin, and his wife, Betty. The message they painstakingly unraveled was nothing short of a chilling glimpse into the mind of a psychopath. It read, "I like killing people because it is so much fun. It is more fun than killing wild game in the forest because man is the most dangerous animal of all to kill. Something gives me the most thrilling experience. It is even better than getting your rocks off with a girl. The best part of it is that when I die, I will be reborn in paradise, and they I have killed will become my slaves. I will not give you my name because you will try to slow down or atop my collecting jog of slaves for my afterlife Ebariathamaz." This letter, with its crude spelling and disturbing content, confirmed the killer's macabre motivations: a perverse thrill in taking human life, a distorted view of the afterlife, and a desire to collect slaves for his paradise. It laid bare a chilling philosophy of murder, cementing Zodiac's image as a depraved and calculating predator. The last 18 letters of the message remained undeciphered, adding another layer to the enigma. Throughout 1969 and into the early 1970s, the Zodiac Killer continued his psychological warfare against the police and the public. He sent more letters, each one more audacious than the last. He provided precise details of his crimes that only the killer would know, further solidifying his claims. He sent fragments of clothing, allegedly stained with the blood of his victims, as proof. He even marked victims' cars with his chilling crossed circle symbol. The anonymous phone calls persisted, often made to lawyers or police departments, laced with taunts and further demands. On one occasion, a taxi driver named Paul Stein was murdered in San Francisco's Presidio Heights neighborhood in October 1969. The killer then sent a letter with a blood-stained piece of Stein's shirt, further confirming his responsibility and delivering a gruesome, tangible piece of evidence. The letters, phone calls, and physical evidence were all designed to frustrate, to tantalize, and to terrify. The killer seemed to relish the attention, orchestrating a public spectacle of fear and helplessness. Despite this unprecedented amount of interaction and evidence left by a serial killer, law enforcement agencies across multiple jurisdictions, including the Vallejo Police Department, the Napa County Sheriff's Office, the San Francisco Police Department, and the California Department of Justice, were repeatedly stumped. They pursued countless leads, interviewed thousands of suspects, and dedicated untold hours to deciphering his codes and analyzing his communications. The survivor accounts, like Michael Mago's description, provided crucial but ultimately insufficient information to identify the killer. The detailed descriptions of the crimes, the very boasting that Zodiac engaged in, only served to highlight the infuriating proximity of the police to their quarry without ever quite closing in. The crossed circle symbol became an indelible mark of dread, appearing not only in his letters but sometimes even at crime scenes, a phantom signature of terror. The Zodiac Killer's brazenness, his taunting letters, and his ultimate disappearance into the shadows have cemented his place as one of the most enigmatic and terrifying figures in true crime history. His self-professed claim of 37 victims remains unverified, yet the fear he instilled was undeniably real. The 5 confirmed killings represent a fraction of the terror he sowed. To this day, the case remains officially unsolved. The files on the Zodiac Killer are still open, a constant reminder of a phantom who walked among us, inflicted unimaginable horror, and then vanished. His cryptic messages continue to be analyzed, his ciphers still hold some secrets, and the chilling content of his decoded letters echo as a testament to the darkest corners of human nature. The Zodiac Killer left a legacy of fear, frustration, and an enduring question: who was he, and why was he never caught? The answer, it seems, is still out there, locked away in the annals of one of the world's most elusive serial killers. Thank you for joining us for this special report.